This is an open letter to friends and family. I'm not 100% sure. Again, as I said before, I might be wrong, and I'm wrong a lot. Here's the thing I don't understand. Have you heard this thing, this silly phrase, freedom is not free. And you think to yourself, freedom is not free. Is that really true? Or is it, just propaganda? Here's the thing. From what I know, freedom is actually free. From what I've seen. Here's the thing. If you pack up, get on a boat, and start living alone or with your better half, Robinson Crusoe style, in the middle of Pacific Ocean, find a deserted island and start living there, you won't have much in the way of society or amenities that the society brings, but you're pretty much free. So freedom is actually quite free, and it's literally cost the society around you zero, because you're not in that society. So it's literally free. It doesn't there is no there is no cost to the society for your existence, any society, because you're free by yourself or just with your family. And that's usually what we mean by freedom. It's like, I can do whatever I want when I want. That's freedom, supposedly. That's how it's translated. But then the only way that's really possible is if you are there on your own, literally alone, not even with a family. That's, you have total freedom. Because once you do have a family, that comes also with restrictions. So the point is this. But from that point, Robinson Crusoe, castaways in an island that the total cost to any society is free for his existence. There is no cost involved for his existence. That you can say he's free. That's freedom, and there is no cost involved with it. And then you see that because you see that freedom has no cost involved with it to any society. But then you take that Robinson Crusoe and you bring him to a village. Now he has to rent a room and pay for electricity and this and that and the other. So now that existence as a cost to the society, still again is no longer free. It was free in the jungle, and now in even a small village, it's not free. Life comes with a cost to the society. The cost of building that structure that he's going to rent, and then he's not free because now he has to compensate for that structure to be a roof over his head. Now he has to compensate somebody else. Rent. So the cost to the society at that point, +1, has increased because now it's +1. So that cost is, there's a cost and it's not free. And the person is no longer free of living costs because now he's part of a society, part of a village. And as you go up in the concentration of cities, in the echelon of the city, increase the size of the city from the village to a large city, you see suddenly, for example, in New York City, you have like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month rent for a same apartment that will cost, you know, $500 in a some boondog dog, but in New York City it will cost $3,000-4,000. So, and for a smaller space, and you know, as an apartment in a third floor of some shithole, and you know, with a in a very cramped space, the existence of that person, now it costs even more. Now it costs even more. That the cost of his existence. So he has moved farther away from freedom, because again, the cost for the society means that now his productivity has to be used in order to pay for that cost of that building structure to the society. It's his payback, it's his rent, his mortgage, whatever the fuck. But the point is this: as you keep now, his restrictions in an apartment in New York City is even more, his life is more restricted than his life was in the village shack, and that was more restricted obviously from living in in an island by himself. As you go up, then you go really high, you know, a maximum security prison. The cost of existence of a person locked up in a maximum security prison is certainly not free. That's one of the most expensive existence anywhere. Maximum security, the way I hear, the way I read, is we're talking about 50, 60, up to $100,000 a year for just keeping that person in that condition, whatever the condition is, because of all the security that security and maintenance needed to, you know, create a very secure environment with guards not allowing inmates out. But then, when you look at it from the other side, as living in a luxury apartment in New York City is also needs a guard. That guard is, again, the guards in the New York City apartment complex are meant to prevent people from coming in, as opposed to guards in a jail cell that are instructed to not to let people out. So the point is this: the cost has gone up. Whether you jail the person or you put them in an apartment in the center of New York City, the cost of existence of this person has gone up. Now you have to pay guards to protect them, either way, in either place. So has gone much higher, $50,000, $100,000 a year, you know, as a charge for some luxury apartment in New York City is probably normal. Just the charge of, you know, maintenance. Whereas the same charge, $50,000 to $100,000, is also the number that, you know, they talk about that costs keeping a person in maximum security prison. So as you restrict a person in a society, it becomes more expensive. So this idea is freedom is not free. Actually, freedom is free. What is not free, the more restricted you are, the more expensive is the existence. Freedom is free, and the more restricted you are, the farther you move away from freedom, the more expensive it becomes. Your existence as a cost to the society, which you have to compensate by, you know, your added value to the society, by your income. So in reality, it's exactly the opposite of what they're claiming, that freedom is not free, which is, so the correct terminology is that freedom is free, but if you want to be a part of a structure, hierarchy of a tribe, that is not free. And the higher you are in that hierarchy of a, you know, concentrated society, the higher you are, and the more it will cost, the more restricted you are. and that restriction costs money to provide. Again, restriction either from attack from without, when rich people have all these bodyguards and doormen and security people to attack them from without, from outside without, and when they have to in maximum security prison, they cost so much money to prevent these people, prevent harm from within. So either case, freedom is free. Being part of a structured tribe is not. Or in short, freedom is free, but being part of a tribe is not free. Being part of a tribe is not free, but freedom is free. And when you say being part of the tribe is not free, then you go to this point that you say, oh, okay, so being part of the tribe is actually not free, and that does make sense, as I explained. But then you say, so the soldier who goes and fights on behalf of this tribe, he's actually paying his dues to be part of the tribe, paying his dues as his service in order as his dues to be part of this tribe, as a due to, probably if he had found a better paying job, that he could pay his dues for his existence in the tribe, but also keep a little extra to buy home or to invest or do whatever, then he probably would have chosen the second option, and he would not chosen, to pay his dues to the tribe by military service. So the point is this. Then the question arises that, okay, if a person is going to have to risk his life to pay for his dues to the tribe, is everybody more or less doing that? Or just a select few are chosen to pay for, they have to, try to pay the dues to be as part of their membership to this tribe, the membership dues by military service. So not everybody has to. Why not? If if this is the due that we have to pay to be part of this tribe, then how come not everybody is paying the same due? And then the next question is, okay, is everybody paying some kind of a due to this tribe? Is everybody at least paying, maybe not in the form of a military service, but in a different form that is just as dangerous as a military service? Has Jeff Bezos paid his dues, which has to be very dangerous, danger to his life has to be present in the due that Jeff Bezos owes to the tribe, or any of his children, or maybe Warren Buffett? Here's the thing. You find this came about when I found a list of the 21 richest people in the world. I'm not going to talk about number one, Mr. Elon Musk, because I think he's rich on paper, but he's literally paying dues to the tribe on a daily basis. As in literally, goes and sleep on the floor next to the workers when he has to lead the troops. So I'm going to leave him out because he's doing a lot of good for the system. But the rest of these 20 folks, second place, Mr. Bernard Arnault, France. Apparently this guy has some retail stores. He's a retail owner. He's a store shopkeeper in a large scale. Mr. Jeff Bezos, another shopkeeper in a large scale. Mr. Warren Buffett, an accountant in a large scale. Larry Page, an engineer. Steve Ballmer, engineer. So here's the thing, none of these guys have risked their life to pay their dues to the society. Something as comparable as risking your life to pay your dues to society is just not out there. It's not out that's comparable to risking your life to pay for dues to the society, to the tribe, as being, as a price of being part of the tribe. None of these folks have paid anything close to, risking their life. Not even once. Forget about 4 years, 5 years, not even once. So, and then you think to yourself that, okay, freedom is not free, which we said is wrong. Freedom is free. You're part of a tribe now. Because you're poor, you have to pay your dues to the tribe in an endeavor which endangers your life. Then you say, okay, am I at least working on behalf? Does everybody in the tribe benefits from this fighting for freedom, or this, my dues that I'm paying for the tribe, that dues that I'm paying to be part of the tribe? Does everybody from the tribe benefits from this? I mean, I know my aunt doesn't have proper health care. I know my grandfather didn't have proper, old people care. I know my little sister is not getting a good education. I know all these people who are, left behind as a society by the tribe. I know these folks, and so they are not getting any benefit from this dues that I'm paying to this tribe as part of my military service. So they're not benefiting. Who is benefiting from this due that I'm paying to this tribe, which goes, it clearly is going towards expanding the empire? Who's benefiting from this expansion of the empire that this dangerous work that I am executing? Who's benefiting from this dangerous work that I'm doing as part of my dues to this tribe? Who's benefiting? None of the people I know is benefiting. The empire is expanding, the influence and the territory and influence of the empire is expanding, the territory of the empire is expanding, but none of the people I know as part of my service, let's say as a military personnel, nobody is benefiting from the people I know. But it seems a few are benefiting a lot from, whatever is I'm doing on the other side of the planet. A few are benefiting a lot because it seems, if we open, let's say, for example, if we open the Iraqi market to Amazon, Jeff Bezos is going to get a lot richer, but it won't affect my family or my friends or anybody I know if Iraq opens up to Jeff Bezos and his Amazon, or it doesn't. We don't benefit, but Jeff Bezos does a lot by, just opening up new market to his, a business he is running, he owns, that now has a bigger market to spread in. So the price I am paying, which is a very, risky price I'm paying, is benefiting a very few people who I never seen, never know, never seen, never will see for the rest of my life. So I'm paying my dues to be part of this tribe. Freedom is free, but then since I've chosen to be part of this tribe, I'm paying my dues, but nobody is in my tribe is benefiting from these dues that I'm paying. But very few are benefiting a lot. And these few are the ones who actually pay those politicians, as donations, legitimate donations, pay those politicians, and those politicians that keep keep encouraging us to help expand the empire because we are good and they are bad. Here's the thing, folks. Of the 20 people that the richest people in the world, and this is how you can tell. Of the 20 richest, let's leave Elon Musk out, but of the 20 richest people in the world, 13 of them belong to Uncle Sam's land. Of the top 20, 13 of them belongs to Uncle Sam. There are 2 Frenchmen, 2 Indian, 1 Spain, 1 Mexico, and 1 China. So you're thinking to yourself, could it be that there's so many of more than half, 13 of the 20, more than half belong to the Uncle Sam's land, where in reality Uncle Sam has been involved with expansionist. Uncle Sam's managers have been involved with expansionist wars, which are not really defensive wars. It's not a war for freedom. Not even George. I don't understand how could George Bush have sold that we have to fight them over there so we don't have to fight them here. No, if you control your airspace, you don't have to fight them here. There's a fucking ocean in between. I'm not sure how they're going to, from their primitive surround. I mean, here's the thing: there are 2 major plane producers in the world. It's United States and it's Europe, Boeing and Airbus. They don't even produce planes in those shed holes. How can you tell me that we have to go fight them over there so we don't have to fight them here? And he was able to sell this message apparently because nobody could question this silly statement. Everybody has to go along with such a silly statement. It's like questioning such a silly statement is sacrilege. I mean, the point where people become so gullible, where even simple lies slips right by them, then I'm sorry, that's just it's a they just tell simple lies. It's like and now they're not even lying, they're just saying it's in our benefit that the Ukrainians and Russians grind each other up. It benefits us, and they're not even shy about the intentions. It's no longer good and bad. It's just no. I got money in this game. I got money on that. I got money on red. Oh, sorry. I got money on black. I'm sorry, but this just. This is just. This whole idea of freedom is not free. Freedom is absolutely free. It's locking you up costs a lot of money. whether it's voluntary, as in like living in a large city, or is it involuntary, as in living in a prison. It costs money, and I'm just wondering that a lot of people are paying their dues to the society, but the very few are reaping the rewards. Very few are reaping the rewards, and patting themselves on the back, saying that how hardworking they are. I mean, you know, or how intelligent they are. It's sort of like uh, yes and no. I mean, is it intelligent not to educate your public at the expense of expanding the empire? Is it intelligent? I mean, the public lives close at home. Expansion of the empire is at the borders. You neglect the people at home to expand the borders. What are you going to be left with by neglecting people at home? Their education, their welfare, their health, their housing, their education. Education is the one thing that makes people less gullible. So somebody like George W. Bush is, I mean, just picking George W. Bush as your candidate is, it just shows the gullibility of people. Because he wasn't like he was a genius, then after election he hit his head and suddenly his IQ dropped by 100 points. No, he was never a genius, and his IQ didn't drop. He was what he was, and it just takes a lot of it takes a lot of gullibility to say that he's my guy. He's the guy I will take advice from. And you see, when you choose a leader, you have to choose the kind of leader that you say, in your heart, you can say, yeah, I will take advice from this guy because obviously, he knows stuff. But more and more, the system has gone to, I just like the guy. I like the cut of his jib. Therefore, I like to have a beer with the guy. In fact, the guy I take advice from, I don't want to have a beer with, because I want him sharp so he can give me good advice. Fuck. I'm sorry, the gullibility is the result of bad education. Bad education is a result of concentrating too much on expanding the empire for the benefit of Mr. John Mars, $55 billion, Michael Dell, $63 billion, Julian Fletcher Koch, $63 billion, Charles Koch, $63 billion. Folks, when we say billion, I'm not sure if all of us are on the same page. You make $1 million, then you make $10 million, then you make $100 million, then you make $200 million, then you make $300, $400, $500 million, then $100 million. Then after $900 million, you have $1 billion. The recent count of Mr. Charles Koch wealth is 63 billion. After 900 million, you have 1 billion. Now he's got 63 of them. Charles Koch, 63. Alice Walton, $68 billion. Rob Walton, $69 billion. Jim Walton, $71 billion. These are all Walmart heirs. Then you have Mark Zuckerberg, $106 billion. Sergey Brin, $112 billion. Stephen Ballmer, $113 billion. Larry Page, $118 billion. Would any of these guys be in such a wealth if, you know, if the empire was not, if so many markets were not open around the world to their products? If so many markets were not open to their wares around the world, would they be so rich? No. Most of this wealth comes from the fact that how many markets are open, markets of different countries are open to their products, whatever they're selling. And that is, you know, North Korea is not one of the markets that Mr. Dell can sell computers to. North Korea is one of those countries that is not open, their markets are not open so that Mr. John Mars can sell Mars candy bar to. You know, Snickers and Mars and whatever else they sell. These people cannot sell to the markets in North Korea because North Korea has decided to go their way. But why is it their enemy? Why are they enemy? Because they're sanctions and embargoed, not because they're dictators. So is Saudi Arabia. Don't tell me they're bad because they're dictator. So is Saudi Arabia. And don't tell me they're bad because they're communist. So was China. If you trade with them, eventually they will drop communism, because communism is only there when the supplies are limited, and supplies has to be rationed. That's the main reason behind communism. Once there is plenty, there is trade going on, there is no embargoes and sanctions, there is no need for communism. There is no need for portioning what you have when there is plenty. Communism by its dictatorship is their model of government. The Chinese have it too. Even in South Korea, it's not dictatorship, but there are certain families that are in politics, have been in politics for the past couple of hundred years. There are certain families. You can call them dictatorship or you can't. It's just a word. When you have like 5 families who are, there is always one of these families at the top leadership position of politics in a country, that's a kind of leadership, that's a kind of dictatorship too. But when, you know, just because, you know, Clinton was president and his wife thinks I should be president too, or that it's logical for me to become president too, that's, you know, top leadership of a country falling in very few hands is not that much different from dictatorship. So, because Jeff Bezos cannot sell in North Korea, we have to go to war with North Korea. The rest of the world has to sanction and embargo North Korea because Jeff Bezos can't sell his shit in North Korea. Or Mr. John Mars can't sell his candy in North Korea. Or Mr. Jim Walton can't put up a Walton shop in North Korea, Walmart shop in North Korea. Or Mr. Warren Buffett can't, you know, do, you know, some accounting for their corporations. This whole idea that, you know, again, as we said, you're not really free when you're living in a concentrated society. You have to pay a dues for them to allow you to live in that society. That's the due that you have to pay in order to be part of the society, in order to cut back on your freedom. In other words, as we move into a society, we exchange our freedoms for luxury, for not even if not luxury, at least for ease. We change our freedom for ease of life. So this whole idea of we have to go fight for our freedom, no, it seems we are fighting for Jeff Bezos to have access to more markets so he can double his wealth, so he can become even richer than 157 billion dollars rich. So the whole idea becomes just what are we? So we are not fighting for freedom. We're just there to opening up markets for these folks so they can increase their wealth, while the rest of us in the society have lack good education, good health care, good housing. It's an old story, but it needs to be repeated because they keep changing the facade, but but it's the whole old story.